You're not in control, at least not as much as you think. Every single day, someone is influencing your thoughts, your emotions, and your decisions. Without raising their voice, without forcing you, without you even noticing. It could be a friend, a partner, or even a stranger online. And the truth is simple. Once someone understands how your mind works, they don't need power to control you. They just need strategy. This is what psychologists refer to as dark psychology. Not magic, not mind reading, just a deep understanding of human behavior used in a manipulative way. And today you're going to learn how it works. Not so you can use it against people, but so you can finally see it when it's being used on you. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Silence is one of the most underrated psychological tools. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. The moment a conversation becomes quiet, they rush to fill the gap. They talk more. They explain more. They reveal more than they planned to. But a manipulator understands something important. Silence creates pressure. And under pressure, people expose themselves. Imagine you're explaining something to someone. You finish talking, and they say nothing. They just look at you. Now your mind starts working against you. Did I say something wrong? Are they judging me? Should I explain more? So you keep talking. You add more details. You try to justify yourself. And without realizing it, you've given them control of the conversation. Because the person who is comfortable with silence controls the pace. Human beings like to believe they are logical. But in reality, most decisions are emotional. And manipulators don't try to control your logic. They control your feelings. Instead of arguing with facts, they trigger emotions like guilt, fear, or insecurity. For example, someone says, "I guess you don't care about me anymore." They didn't accuse you directly, but now you feel guilty. So you react. You try to prove them wrong. You give more attention. You change your behavior. Not because you thought it through, but because you felt something. That's how emotional manipulation works. It bypasses logic and goes straight to your reactions. One of the most subtle manipulation tactics is giving you a choice. That isn't really a choice. Instead of forcing you, the manipulator presents options. But both options lead to the same outcome. For example, do you want to do it now or later? It sounds fair, but either way, you're still doing it. This creates the illusion of control. You feel like you made the decision. But in reality, the decision was already made for you. This technique is used everywhere. In conversations, relationships, and even marketing. And most people never notice it. There is a form of manipulation that goes deeper than all the others. It doesn't just influence your actions. It changes your perception of reality. This is known as gaslighting. It usually starts small. You're overreacting. That never happened. You're too sensitive. At first, you might ignore it, but over time, something begins to change. You start doubting your memory. You start questioning your feelings. You begin to wonder, maybe I'm the problem. And that's when the manipulation becomes powerful. Because once you stop trusting yourself, you become easier to control. As philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once suggested, losing trust is more damaging than being lied to. Because now, the problem is no longer just them. It's your own perception. Not all control is loud. Sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the quietest one. Psychological dominance comes from emotional control. The person who reacts less often controls more. while others are getting angry, defensive, or emotional. They remain calm, they observe, they think, and because of that, they stay in control. Sun Tzu, the ancient strategist, once said that if your opponent is easily angered, you should provoke them. Why? Because emotional people become predictable, and predictable people are easier to control. True power is not about raising your voice, it's about controlling your response. Now you understand the patterns, the silence, the emotional triggers, the hidden choices, the manipulation of reality, the quiet control. These things happen every day, in conversations, in relationships, online and offline. And most of the time, people don't even realize it. Carl Jung once said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life and you will call it fate. That is what dark psychology does. It operates in the background, invisible, until you become aware of it. And awareness changes everything, because once you recognize manipulation, you stop reacting automatically. You pause, you think, you choose, and that's where your power returns. The goal is not to fear this knowledge. The goal is to understand it, because the more clearly you see, the harder it becomes for anyone to control you. And once you truly understand these patterns, you'll begin to notice something uncomfortable. It was never just about them. Sometimes it was about what you allowed, and now you see it.